We don't do intros unless I think we stopped doing that like a long time ago. So we just gonna start talking and then you guys like, because before it was like, oh, this is Bird Lines and XYZ. I was like, nah, that's kind of corny. All right, so I'll just start with the first segment and we'll move from there. So first and foremost, I want to thank you guys for being here, for your time and your dedication to what you guys do. I think it's very positive that you guys do what you do for women all over the place, all over the world. First and foremost, I want to know how you guys got started, where the idea came from. I think Go Off Sis is probably the coolest podcast name that I've heard in a while. Because no, seriously, because you see a lot of people with podcasts and stuff like that nowadays, especially now. And I feel like before us, there were a lot, but I feel like when we started doing it, it kind of blew up. Like all of a sudden, like a lot of people I know started saying, "Oh, I got a podcast."
Yeah,
and I'm like,
everyone is on it.
Like, where did that come from? So yeah, no. How'd you guys get started? Like, what's you guys' relationship and like how'd you guys get started?
Yeah. No, you can go, but I was just gonna say I totally agree with you with the whole blown up thing. I think that's like a real thing. Like it was a thing, podcasting, but I think it really actually blew up. I think we kind of came in on it as a bit of a niche thing, like not too many people, and then like, and we're like, okay, like, but
it's like all of a sudden there's too many people.
No, we met at uni. We went to different universities, but like
okay.
So there was like a society called ACS, or like Afro-Caribbean Society, and we were both on the committees at like our own universities. And yeah, we got together all of the committees to put on an event, because where we're based in Liverpool, there's like 3 universities, so we all came together. And Rachel, this is how Rachel describes it. Rachel basically like cracked this joke, and like nobody laughed but me.
Okay.
They had like a little bit of a stick in their ass, and it was a bit of like a touchy joke.
Okay.
All right.
Basically said somebody's
I've made a couple of those.
Take one for the team, and it was a bit of a risque sort of joke, and everybody else was like, and me, I was like,
yeah. No, I feel your pain. I'm that guy all the time.
Yeah. And then I don't really know. We just kind of seen each other on nights out, that kind of thing. Because Liverpool's small, so like you bump into people all the time. And then like we just kind of became friends. And then it was maybe, what was it, March last year? So like just over maybe a year and a half ago. I was wanting to do like a YouTube channel, but like it was just looking like long, and I was like, oh, this is actually like hard, like fuck.
YouTube is long though.
Yeah.
So long.
It is.
Yeah, you guys will know. It's
it is. It's a grind.
But yeah, so then I was like, I don't know how it kind of came into conversation, but I just mentioned like a podcast to Rachel, and she was like, oh my God, no way. Like I was thinking of a podcast as well. Like I was thinking of doing one. And then we were like, okay, well, let's like give it a go. And then we literally like did a first episode, and we just chatted shit really. Like we just...
I think we were just kind of like, let's just do it, and we just jumped into it. We didn't really think too much. We were just like,
yeah. And then, like you said, it was like the time when podcasts weren't really that common. Yeah. So it was kind of like, it got like a really good response. And then the rest is history. Here we are.
Yeah.
Is it just you two? Or was it's just you two do everything? That's pretty impressive, because you guys do a lot.
Yeah.
You cover a lot of topics.
I have to commend Mia though. Mia does most of the graphics, everything like that. She is like on it.
I am very organized.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I said, I think I sent the DM and I said, oh, if you guys want the audio, I don't really feel like editing right now. So,
I'm like, doing another podcast with our friends next week on their platform, and I was like, do you know what? Like, I'm done for the year now. 2021, I'll get.
Oh, okay. I hear that. That's crazy. So. Yeah, no, you guys, so Go Off Sis, what did that come out of? Like, how did that come about?
Oh, the name, in terms of the name.
Yeah, the name, yeah.
I'm trying to remember what we were doing, because we had to pick 2 names, also for the radio show. How do we pick Go Off Sis?
Go Off Sis, I think, right, this is where it gets interesting. So Go Off Sis, we just kind of, do you know what, it was just one night we were on WhatsApp and we were just like free reading loads of names, and I don't know, I genuinely can't remember how it actually came, but like we were like, okay, that could be sick. And then fast forward to maybe like a few months down the line.
Well, this is where it gets really interesting, guys. You think, we also thought it was a really good name.
Yeah, so we thought it was a good name. So good that there's also another podcast called Go Off Sis.
And not just any podcasts. Let me just let you know. A really big podcast as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Refinery 29's.
A podcast
Unbothered.
with
Yeah.
So
wow. You know, it's interesting because I did my research. I feel like I had to do my research. And when I did it, you guys are the only ones that came up. So you must be smashing it. You must be smashing it because...
We're all right.
Yes, so they're like they're in America. So when it first happened, we were like, oh my God, like we're going to get sued. But then actually we actually came first.
Okay.
But they had like a Instagram series or something called Go Off Sis.
Oh, right.
So it was kind of like...
we actually got quite emotional because of it, didn't we? We were a bit like, what are we going to do? Are we going to have to change our name? It was a bit of a weird time for us, but then eventually we were... Because that's, I think, how we transitioned to the Go Off Sis hub. Rather than... So that's our podcast, but in general, we did a bit of a brand in general.
But our like, because of the Go Off Sis in America, it brought like a mass American audience to us. So now, like the majority of our listeners, like more than in the UK, are in America. Yeah. So it's kind of been like a bit weird, but
here we are.
But yeah, and Refinery 29 like know about it as well. So like it's kind of all cool now.
Yeah.
So.
Are they subscribed to y'all or they just?
Well,
like,
the Refinery 29 in the UK did like a post and they put us on it and they were like, oh, don't mix this up with the US one. So
okay, it's kind of salty of them anyway. It's kind of salty. There's no need for that. It's funny, we have a similar thing. We have a doppelganger. There's these two Indian guys who have a Blurred Lines account. They started years ago, but they only have like I think 3 subscribers or something like that, and that was a worry for us at the beginning because we also went through the same thing and it was a little bit weird and obviously you got the song, which is probably the issue, which that's not where it came from, but the song was there. So it was a little bit like
song. Oh my God,
that's a good thing. I told you, Raph. It's actually dope because I feel like, you know, what type of like female audience in terms of like comments and all that type of stuff do you guys get? Like more empowering type stuff? Do you guys get like hate, people saying certain things, X, Y, and Z?
Do you know what? I don't think we've ever got hit. No. Well, not to our faces anyway.
That's good.
But I'm sure it's there. I'm sure it's there.
Yeah. But most of the time it's like I think as well, like being in Liverpool it's very community vibes. People are very supportive and like everybody knows each other. So I think that's how it kind of started, is like kind of a community.
Right.
And it's kind of, I mean, I guess you could say empowering, but for me, I would just say like more like just people who you can relate to.
Yeah, definitely.
Like we don't know it all at all. Like we do chat shit. Sometimes we get it right, sometimes we get it wrong. So I think that's what we kind of pride ourselves on, the fact that like we're not perfect.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think it's kind of people who are also on this journey. So it's more, I wouldn't even say young girls or young women. I think it kind of varies. So I would say teenagers to 30s, that kind of age group. And I mean, no matter what age you are, you're always on your own journey, always kind of growing. So I think people kind of enjoy listening, seeing all those things, us doing that. And then they're also doing that. So people who are kind of, like you say, relatable content. So they're kind of like, oh yeah, this is cool. Now I'm doing that. So it's like that kind of community that we all build together. And it's quite interesting, us seeing them doing that and them seeing us doing that as well.
Is there any difference from where you're both from? Like, as in the energy that you're feeling from Liverpool compared to, is it Middlesbrough and Trinidad?
Yes.
Is there any sort of like difference in terms of the energy?
I would say people from Trinidad are probably more supportive, but that's mainly because, like, I mean, not that I don't have friends back home, but like, I feel like I disconnected from that like a long time ago, and there's only maybe a select few people who I would maybe now engage with. Whereas I feel like Rachel's probably got more ties back home.
Yeah, and I think those are my close friends as well. Not even just close, I think that there are people, and people see, in the beginning even, I would say people were a bit like, oh, what's this Rachel is doing? And it's so weird. I think, do you know that, what's the song? I can't even remember it.
Birdland.
No. People in the beginning always think like what you're doing is a bit mad, and they think you're wild and for doing shit. But then once they kind of see, oh, this is cool, like people actually, like people who don't know you are following you, think it's interesting, supporting you, and then people who knew you from the past see other people doing that, they're like, oh wow, why didn't I support from the jump? And now they kind of want to and I didn't want to do the back then, they didn't want me, now I'm popping, they all want me. I didn't want to say that because I'm like,
I hear you.
But it's true.
That's true though.
That is the vibe. Do you know what I'm saying? Not that we're like popping, but people want to support you after the fact. And so I think that's always the case. And don't worry, those Middlesbrough people will be jumping.
No.
You'll be the. I want to point out two things. One, Raph picking out you're from Middlesbrough, that's different. I wouldn't even.
How did you know that?
that was top quality stuff right there.
I've just been doing my research, and I also follow you guys as well on my page.
Been doing your
I didn't even. He's obviously dug a lot deeper than I did.
I watched the episode about sort of North versus South. I thought that was pretty cool. I do agree with that. I now live in Glasgow. Obviously I'm from London, but yeah, I do agree with what you're saying. The opportunities, just in general, even with the company that I work for, different compared to London. So yeah, totally agree with you guys with that.
Yeah, I wanted to big that up because I was about to say, if you just pick that accent out, dude, hats off to you.
I've been through this, bro. It wasn't for me, but
I know what you've done. I'm just saying, when the way you threw it out there was so confident, I figured, shit, how the hell do you do that? Nah, on what you guys were saying about the support thing is crazy, because like me and Raph obviously going through that as well. Definitely like people, I think one of the biggest ones is, I think years ago we had what was supposed to be a clothing brand, and one of our friends said to us, I'll jump on when you guys have 1,000 followers. And we were like, right, cool. By the time he jumped on, we had like 500,000 followers, but that's not important. It was just like, we don't need you now, don't worry about it. But you know, that's how the system works. Usually people don't catch on until, you know, you got 1 million subs and, you know, everybody's like, oh, have you heard of such and such and such? And it's like, yeah, been on that from day one. Which is kind of crazy. But moving on, you guys' story is dope. But as of late, obviously dealing with COVID and everything that's going on, as of late, we've been like seeing a lot more, especially for me, being from Brooklyn, I've always been steeped in hip hop music, and Lil' Kim's probably one of the greatest female MCs of all time. But we've always seen like a gender inequality with what women do versus what men do. Men can do X, Y, and Z. Women can't do but so much, especially within music, film, entertainment as a whole. Even recently with Cardi B and
that was crazy, man.
With WAP. I'm not a commenter really, like, but I do like getting under people's skin. So I like when I saw a lot of the things that were going on, you know, the Shade Burrows and so on and so forth, when that song came out, and a lot of misogynistic men were like, oh, this is disgusting, X, Y, and Z, whatever. Still watching the video, mind you, but had a very crazy outlook on it, what have you, and what they were talking about. How do you guys feel? Because I feel like my girlfriend built this question. She was just like, you know, women are in 2020, well, over the last 2 or 3 years, women have been claiming their sexuality back. How do you guys feel about that statement?
You know what you said at the start reminded me of something I said the other week when I did I was doing a radio, and I was doing it all of like 90s hip hop and stuff. And you know, when you just kind of listen to what people are saying, and I was listening to like the likes of like Lil' Kim, Lauryn Hill, all of that.
Mhm.
And I was like, women have been like rapping
Agreed.
and talking about their sexuality. Like they've been
Yeah.
doing that for time.
Yep.
And I feel like it maybe might not have been as overtly as it is now, but like it's still been a thing. So I don't know if it's changed as such. Maybe it is different in the terms of how it's presented to you in terms of like music videos and like how people are dressing. But like for me, like I'm a supporter of it because at the end of the day, like you listen to whoever chatting about how many girls they fucked, like, but if you flip it, you want to get mad. So it's a little bit like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
if we
no,
look at, I think this, because if we speak about black women compared to white women, I have a totally different thing. But if we just look at I'm a slave, actually, let's not do that because that's I'm a slave for you. But still, it is sexuality, Britney Spears. That was very sexual. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially for those days. And I always use these two people as an example. Lady Saw, Patra, those sorts of people. And I put this on my Instagram yesterday. I was literally like, they walked so that people could, like, people nowadays
Do what they're doing now. Yeah.
Yeah, so that they could run.
100%.
And that was sexual. And not in the sense like but that was expressing it the way they wanted to sexualize them, not sexualize, but they wanted to express themselves. They were saying what they wanted to say. And to me, that was normal. When I was listening to that, I felt very empowered when I was singing those songs, when I was, you know, going out, going to parties. And I was like, this is what I want to hear. This is fine. So when they were saying about the meat or all those whatever they want to say, and I was like, no, but for real, I was like, these women have been saying these things. So when people say this is new, it's disrespectful, I'm like, why is it disrespectful and how is it new? Because these things have been happening from a while ago, from years ago. And I don't think that they would have been the first either, because women have been saying these things and they could sing whatever they want to say.
Who is it who has the song and she's like orgasming in the background? Is it Donna Summer maybe? She like,
I think so.
Like uses her, I can't remember, but anyway, like it's from like the 60s, 70s, whatever. Like it's not new.
Literally, and people just, they were getting heated for no reason. I'm like, where have you been? Have you been listening to music? Like,
I think the problem is that men generally, me and Raph were actually talking about this the other day, men generally, it's more of a visual thing. So most men would have watched WAP, for instance, on mute. Not because the song's actually on mute, but because their mind is now turned off from what's being said and they're more so watching the video. And then the men who are getting offended, it's kind of like, I don't even know how to explain it because I don't understand those type of guys. But I guess it offends their sensibility, some sort of insecurity that's like lingering there, what have you. And I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird one because I saw so much for two popular people, two people who are actually like mainstream nowadays. I saw a lot of hate and a lot of vim for them. The thing that I kind of want to get to is there was men are one thing, and you know, unfortunately, there's just no excuse for us. But there were women also in those comments saying certain things, and I wanted to get like a sense of how you guys felt for like when it's women negatively saying things about women doing those things. I mean, I get it. I mean, I see it for Beyonce, for instance. You know, I think Beyonce did the Disney thing, and a lot of people were like, I saw a lot of women saying, oh, now she's, you know, jumping on the bandwagon with African culture. How do you guys feel about that? Because obviously you're two women that are in somewhat of the entertainment industry. And I'm sure, you know, well, God forbid, but obviously you're going to get some people who don't necessarily like what you guys do. How do you guys feel about that when you see that? I'm sure you've seen it yourself in the comments where women are hating on other women.
Yeah. I don't think you could stop some women from doing those things. I don't think you can stop some men. I definitely think it comes from a place of them. It's because sometimes people just talk shit. They're just like, they have to say it. And I think sometimes it does come from a place of them not even being comfortable with themselves. So it's like, I'm not particularly comfortable with, if it isn't from a place with Cardi B, Meg, they're probably not very comfortable with their own sexuality. So they're just like, okay, let me say this. Oh, it's too sexual, it's too this. And if we even go back to, I want to kind of split it. I think they were being over sexualized because, and as I was saying before about Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Pussycat Dolls, because is her name Nicole? She's like quite like petite, all those things. They weren't being spoken about in these sorts of ways, and they've done very sexual things on TV, music videos, singing. I'm like, why did they not get all these things the way they didn't speak about these things as well? So I mean, why no?
Yeah, I feel like I think Black women are definitely like hypersexualized in the media and in like. I think it's the whole thing that now that they are like taking ownership of their bodies and how they look, that people want to have a problem with it. I think similar to Rachel, like I can understand that for some people it might maybe make them feel uncomfortable if they're not at a comfortability with themselves. Yeah. But like really and truly, I think you have to strip it back and like how is it impacting like your life? Do you know what I mean? To see Megan Thee Stallion or Cardi B like sexually dancing or like just I don't know twerking or whatever, like that's not really affecting your life. So why do you have to like why have you got the time now to sit and type out
I don't get it. And then people are typing out like a whole paragraph and a whole it's like racism, right? It's just like
literally
how do you have all this energy for this stuff? It's just crazy. I agree.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't enjoy reading hate. But I do enjoy antagonizing people who do type those type of things. That is a part of like my makeup. Like I know when people go in like shade room or whatever, and they're just totally destroying somebody they don't even know. I just go in there and be like, "Why you so mad, bro?" Like, and they just be like, "Oh, f you."
Don't you?
I like a clap back if someone's been racist.
Do you know what though, guys? I think I just thought of that as well. I think it's more than just like people not being comfortable. It's also kind of what society has kind of built up around us. And I think that's like a lot of things. Like society has taught us, you don't, because it's kind of like taking a tampon to the toilet. You kind of thought that's a bit weird. Like you kind of hide your tampon. Yeah. Or it's like all those kind of silly things. We're taught, you don't like overtly show how sexual you are. Like that's something for just you leaving the house or you do this. And it's kind of like, okay, but you could just do what you want if you really want to. Like, it's not a big deal.
100%.
Like, if you want to talk about sex, you talk about sex. If you want to sing about sex, you fucking sing about sex. Like,
if you don't like it, turn it off.
Yeah, literally, like, nobody's telling you to play it. Like, okay.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy because, like, we living in a time now where we're all locked away. And for the most part, like, we're not in clubs and stuff. So I always know that, like, I was like, all these songs that are coming out and it would be, like, huge, bigger had like clubs been open and things of that nature. And I always wait for the alphabet boys and the Twitter fingers when these things happen.